I've seen a lot of people talking about Obsession and The Backrooms lately, and what's been most interesting to me than the movies themselves is the reaction around them. I saw one tweet calling this sensitive young white male excellence, and saying that these filmmakers are capable of producing the greatest artistic works in human history. I've also seen people acting like these movies prove indie cinema is finally back. I think both groups are getting ahead of themselves. The first side is people who see these two movies and immediately treat them as proof of something bigger. The fact that they came up through YouTube or outside the traditional system becomes the main argument. They believe that cinema is now in like a revival, like the gatekeepers have been bypassed and something new is happening. But I don't really buy that. I think independent filmmaking never disappeared. There have always been people making movies outside the system. The bigger problem is that cinema as a whole is in a rough spot right now. Studios are making a lot of garbage, streaming has changed things, audiences have changed. I don't look at two internet horror movies and suddenly think we're entering some new golden age. And it's worth noting that these two YouTubers had a lot of followers and these videos went viral. So I think that had something to do with it. So the studios knew that before they signed them. Then there's the reaction from the right wing. These people see the movies and immediately turn them into a culture war story. The argument is that Hollywood spent years pushing diversity initiatives, race-swapping characters, and progressive messaging, and now young white male filmmakers are finally breaking through again. To be fair, some of those points about Hollywood are real. DEI initiatives exist. The Academy changed their rules at the Oscars. Studios have spent years making creative decisions based on politics, demographics, and messaging. But I don't think the correct response to all that is to start celebrating mediocre movies because they were made by straight white men. The tweet I saw was talking about sensitive young white male excellence and the greatest artistic works in human history. That's such a crazy thing to say about movies that haven't proven anything yet. Directors who haven't proven anything yet. And if we're going to start talking about young white male filmmakers, let's talk about young white male filmmakers. Marty was 30 years old when he made Mean Streets. Orson Welles was in his mid-20s when he made Citizen Kane. David Lynch was around 30 when he was making Eraserhead. John Carpenter was making Halloween in his late 20s. Sam Raimi made The Evil Dead when he was barely old enough to even drink. They changed cinema. They are great filmmakers. That's the part that seems to be missing from a lot of these conversations. The standard keeps getting lowered. For years, people complained that Hollywood was rewarding movies for reasons that had nothing to do with artistic quality. That's a fair criticism, but now some people seem willing to do the exact same thing from the opposite direction. The movie gets points because it came from the right demographic, or because it can be used as evidence in a political argument. None of that tells me whether the movie is actually good. The standard isn't, well, it's better than Disney. The standard isn't, well, it annoys progressives on Twitter. The standard isn't, well, it's made by someone from my side. The standard is simply whether the movie is actually good. The great cultural victory apparently is swapping out trash movies made by libtards for trash movies now made by straight white men. I don't see why that's supposed to excite me. If you're gonna tell me young white male filmmakers are back, then show me the next Lynch. Show me the next Dennis Hopper. Show me the next Godard. Somebody doing something genuinely new, memorable, and personal. That's a much higher standard than simply not being woke, and it's a standard people should be aiming for.